Ryan Brooks's life takes a dramatic turn when his wife, Lily, proposes an open relationship to sow her wild oats before they start a family. Feeling betrayed, Ryan orchestrates a meticulously planned revenge. He locks Lily out of their house, spies on her using apps on her phone, and secretly empties their joint bank accounts. He then dates Lily's coworkers and, on their 5th anniversary, serves her divorce papers in front of friends and family at a pool party, revealing all of her infidelity and his own retaliatory actions. 2 years after the divorce, Ryan, now married to his lawyer, Tara, and a father to their son, Liam, and Tara's daughter, Simone, runs into Lily at a local fair. During the meeting, Lily apologizes for her past actions, revealing that she sought therapy to change her impulsive ways and that she is now engaged to a man named David. Ryan accepts her apology, acknowledges his own poor behavior, and affirms that he has moved on and is happy with his new family. The encounter provides closure for both of them, allowing Ryan to leave the bitterness of his past behind and move forward. A story of betrayal and vengeance. Ryan Brooks, a 28-year-old with a master's degree in computer science, and his stunning wife, Lily, seemed to have the perfect life, married for 5 years. They were about to embark on the next chapter, starting a family. However, their plans were shattered when Lily made a shocking confession. She wanted to try something different and get rid of everything, before settling down to be a mother. She told him she was going to date other men, claiming it's not cheating if I tell you. Incensed by her betrayal, Ryan decided to fight fire with fire. His meticulous plan was as cruel as it was cunning. First, he secured a new place to live, purchased a 1972 GMC truck, and started his own consulting business. He also began a relationship with a lawyer named Tara. On the night Lily left to meet her first date, Ryan changed the locks, loaded all her belongings into her car, and took control of their finances, leaving her with nothing. Over the next 2 months, Ryan spied on Lily using covert apps he'd installed on her phone, tracking her location and recording her conversations. He also started dating her co-workers to create drama and tension in her professional and personal life. As the final piece of his revenge, he planned a surprise party for their 5th anniversary. He invited all their friends and family and even had the house renovated, including the addition of a pool, the climax and aftermath. At the party, with everyone gathered, Ryan delivered the final blow. He announced that he and Lily were getting a divorce. He revealed Lily's infidelity to their guests. And then, as a final act of humiliation, he introduced his new girlfriend, Tara, and her daughter, Simone. Ryan told Lily to take her bags and leave, publicly ending their marriage. Lily, devastated and humiliated, left the party, and their lives went in different directions. In the years that followed, Ryan's new life with Tara and their blended family thrived. He had a successful career and a happy home life. Lily, on the other hand, struggled. She lost friends, changed careers, and eventually entered therapy. She realized her impulsiveness had caused irreparable harm to both herself and Ryan. 3 years after the divorce, Ryan and Lily unexpectedly ran into each other at a local fair. Seeing Ryan's happy family and his pregnant wife, Lily was forced to confront the life she had thrown away. She apologized for her actions, expressing remorse and explaining that she had since tried to become a better person. Ryan accepted her apology, and the encounter provided them with closure. He acknowledged his own flaws in handling the situation but made it clear that he had moved on. The meeting, while awkward, allowed both of them to finally make peace with their past. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of wood smoke and a lingering hint of apple cider. The sun, a warm orange disk, was sinking behind the tree line of the Harvest Fairgrounds. Ryan watched Lily and David disappear into the thinning crowd, a sense of finality settling over him. It wasn't the triumphant feeling he'd expected, but something more akin to a quiet release. The fury and pain that had defined their last days together had finally been laid to rest. He turned to Tara, who was giving Simone a playful lecture about getting paint on her new jacket. "Everything okay?" Tara asked again. Her voice soft. Ryan nodded, reaching for her hand and giving it a gentle squeeze. "Yeah, it's over. For real this time." He looked at her, at Simone, and at Liam, who was gurgling happily in the stroller. "I'm glad we ran into her. It feels like the last piece of the puzzle finally clicked into place." Tara smiled, a knowing look in her emerald eyes. She'd seen the shift in him, the subtle but profound change from a man still haunted by his past to one fully present in his new reality. They walked together, their steps in sync, heading toward the parking lot as the fair began to shut down for the evening. Ryan felt a deep gratitude for Tara. She had been his anchor, a force of calm and reason in the storm of his life. She had never judged him for his vengeful actions, instead offering a quiet strength that had allowed him to heal. The aftermath of the party. The day after the infamous pool party, Ryan woke up to a quiet house. The echoes of his grand pronouncement and Lily's frantic sobs seemed to hang in the air, but the feeling of victory was hollow. He had won the war, but the cost had been high. The house, once a home he shared with Lily, now felt like a sterile monument to his own anger. His parents, still in shock from the previous night, had left without a word. The only person who had stayed was his younger brother, Mark, who simply said, "You went too far, man." Ryan called Tara that morning, his voice thick with a mix of triumph and regret. "It's done," he said. "And how do you feel?" she asked. "Empty," he admitted. Tara's response was not what he expected. "Good. Now we can start the real work." For the next few weeks, the house was a whirlwind of activity. Tara and Simone came over to help him organize and prepare for their move. Ryan's consulting business was thriving, but his days were filled with legal meetings with Tara, who was tirelessly fighting Ida's attempts to contest the divorce. Lily had retained a lawyer, but the evidence Ryan had collected the phone recordings. The GPS logs? The bank records was a mountain she couldn't climb. Lily and Susie's friendship, as Ryan had predicted, didn't survive. The animosity between them reached a boiling point when Lily accused Susie of deliberately setting her up with Ryan at the club. Susie, in a fit of rage, threw Lily's belongings onto the lawn and told her to get out. Lily, now truly alone, found a small apartment, a far cry from the spacious home she had once shared with Ryan. Ryan found himself spending more and more time at Tara's apartment. He enjoyed the quiet evenings with her and Simone, the simple acts of cooking dinner together or watching a movie. He began to see that a relationship built on genuine connection was far more fulfilling than one based on a shared history, even a tumultuous one. When the divorce was finalized, and Tara and Simone moved in, the house finally began to feel like a home again. The scent of Tara's cooking replaced the lingering aroma of the barbecue, and Simone's laughter filled the once empty rooms. The long road to healing. One evening, a few months after Tara and Simone had moved in, Ryan found a box of old photographs in the attic. He sat on the floor, dust motes dancing in the light from the bare bulb, and began to sift through them. There were pictures of him and Lily in college, their faces full of youthful optimism. Pictures from their wedding, where she was radiant in her white dress, and he, in his suit, looked like the luckiest man in the world. He saw the progression of their life together. The trips, the holidays, the quiet moments that had once felt so precious. He remembered a time, long before Susie's influence, when they had been inseparable. He thought of the laughter they shared, the inside jokes, the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled. He had loved that woman. The memory was painful, and for the first time, he realized that in his quest for revenge, he had destroyed not only Lily, but a part of himself. He had become a man driven by anger, someone he barely recognized. When Tara came upstairs and found him, she didn't say a word. She simply sat down beside him and put her hand on his. "You loved her, didn't you?" she asked softly. He nodded, a lump in his throat. "I did. A lot." "It's okay to feel that," she said. "Love isn't a switch you can just turn off. It's a memory. It's part of who you are. The hurt is too, but it doesn't have to define you. It's just a chapter." That night, for the first time, Ryan talked to Tara about the full scope of his relationship with Lily the good, the bad, and the ugly. He confessed his fears, his regrets, and the lingering shame from the way he had handled their breakup. Tara listened without judgment, her presence a quiet comfort. She helped him see that his actions, while extreme, were born from a place of deep pain, and that true healing wasn't about erasing the past, but about integrating it into his story and moving forward. A new chapter. The street market encounter with Lily, and her subsequent apology, was the culmination of Ryan's journey. It was the moment he realized he had truly forgiven her, not in a grand, public display, but in the quiet chambers of his own heart. He saw her not as the woman who had betrayed him, but as a person who had made a mistake and was now trying to make amends. He felt a sense of compassion he hadn't thought possible. As they drove home from the fair, Ryan, Tara, Simone, and Liam sang along to a song on the radio. The simple joy of being in the car with his family filled him with a profound sense of peace. He looked in the rearview mirror, seeing Simone's smiling face and Liam's chubby hand reaching out to grab a toy. "You know," he said to Tara, "I used to think my story was about revenge. About winning? But it wasn't. It was about losing everything to find out what really matters." Tara reached over and squeezed his hand. "That's a good story." "Rob," she said. "The best kind." He drove into the sunset, leaving the ghosts of the past behind him. The house was no longer just a house, it was a home. His heart was no longer filled with vengeance, but with love. The man who had orchestrated such a public and painful divorce was gone, replaced by a father, a husband, and a man who had finally found peace. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be without its challenges, but he had a family now, a real family, and that was more than enough. He was finally, truly happy.